Reflection is a powerful tool, but it's only half the equation. The other half is action, right? We've all been there, wondering if now is the right time, if we can afford to invest in ourselves, or if we even have the time to commit. But what I've learned is that waiting often comes with more costs, such as more time, more energy, and missed opportunities than taking imperfect action ever will. Hello and welcome and Happy New Year from beautiful Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I'm Leslie Godet, a self-care strategist for high-achieving women, and if that's you, I help you explore ways to design systems that align with your values. Together, we work on reclaiming time and energy so that you can thrive in both your personal and professional lives while staying grounded in what truly matters most to you. So today marks the beginning of a new chapter for all of us. A time to pause, to reflect, and align ourselves with what truly matters to us. As we step into 2025, I want to help you not just reflect on where you've been, but to help you trust yourself so that you learn to take intentional action toward where you want to go, not only in 2025, but beyond. When we invest in ourselves, most especially our well being, the return goes far beyond just our physical health. It's about creating emotional resilience, mental clarity, a sense of empowerment, the feeling of being aligned with your values, your mission, and your why. Think of it like this. When it comes to being self aligned, it's like our internal compass, guiding us towards decisions and actions that align with our deepest values, our purpose, and our why for doing what we do. Now, being aligned helps us stay true to ourselves, even in the face of life's challenges, right? So, even in the face of life's challenges. So, when you add emotional resilience to the mix, sorry, I'm just checking my mic. When you add emotional resilience to the mix, being emotionally resilient acts as the map showing us how to navigate the twists and turns of life. These two together, self alignment and emotional resilience, provide the direction and strategy to move from where we are to where we truly want to be. Adding to that, emotional resilience equips you to navigate life's challenges with grace. And I mean the extension of grace to yourself, which I know can be super hard to do because we typically are harder on ourselves than most anyone else is. And so when you're emotionally resilient and you're self aligned, instead of feeling overwhelmed by setbacks, you actually find yourself bouncing back stronger, allowing you to focus and to cut through distractions and align with your efforts to what's most important in the moment. I wanted to remind you of this because it's really about empowering yourself. Because when you feel empowered, it helps you to have the confidence to make decisions that honor your values and your priorities. It helps you move from simply managing life's demands to leading a life filled with intention and purpose. And empowerment comes from when we take that time to connect with our why, like what our why is for doing what we do. And reflection is the first step in that process. But I do want to remind you that reflection alone isn't the whole story. It's what we choose to do with what we uncover, with what we learn, that has that potential to create real and lasting change in our lives. In my recent podcast episode, I spoke about how anchoring in the lessons we've learned, whether it's from challenges, wins, or quiet moments of growth, how they can help us shape our purposeful path forward. Again, reflection isn't just about looking back, it's about anchoring in the moments that shaped you. It gives you the opportunity to see your journey with fresh eyes, to acknowledge the growth that you've experienced, and to really take the lessons that you've learned into the new year, into this new year of 2025 and beyond. Whether those lessons came from challenges or triumphs or quiet moments of realization, each one has shaped who you are today. So think about it. When you pause to reflect, you're not just revisiting the past, you're uncovering what worked, what didn't, and what matters most to you so you can move forward with clarity and bring what did work with you and learning and growing from maybe what didn't work and seeing what you can bring from those lessons also with you into this new chapter of your life. Each lesson has the potential to guide you towards your next chapter. For me, 2024 was a year of incredible growth, both personally and professionally. Two key practices that allowed me to show up authentically and navigate life's ups and downs And that was understanding that self-alignment and emotional resilience are key. When these two components are aligned, when you align with your purpose and you build resilience, you become unstoppable. At least that's what I've found in my own experience. It's truly why I believe that being aligned with your purpose and understanding your why for what you do, the meaning behind it, helps you stay grounded in your values. And then again, being emotionally resilient then equips you to move through life's challenges with the grace that you need, allowing you to make meaningful progress without feeling like you're running in circles. And so the process isn't just about achieving external goals that we all have, because we all do have goals. It's about creating a life that feels deeply connected to who we are so that we feel good on the inside and that reflects out into the world and the world reflects that back to you. So imagine what could be possible if you were self-aligned and emotionally resilient and you paired this incredible foundation of these two working together with intentionally reflecting and taking what you've learned from your life, taking that and then taking intentional action from what you've learned. What's possible for you? How might your life look 1 year from now if you moved through doubt and hesitation to taking steps aligned with your purpose, to being whole, self aligned, and emotionally resilient, and taking inspired action? Today, we're going to explore that, how to approach this, how to reflect on what you've learned, align it with your values, how to align it with your values, and really to take intentional steps towards creating that life for you that feels aligned and fulfilling, not only, as I said, in 2025, but beyond 2025. But first, I want to address something important, something that often keeps us stuck and prevents us from making progress when we desire to make progress. As we're reflecting, it's really important to recognize and challenge any objections that hold you back from taking action because sometimes the biggest barriers aren't external. They're the doubts and the theories that we carry within ourselves. So let's talk about the first one. My first one is, can I really afford this? And that could be time, money, energy, whatever that is. It's one of the most common thought processes that keeps us in limbo, as I said, whether it's about time, money, or energy, or even a combination of all of them. It feels safe to hesitate, right? Because we feel like, oh, yeah, I don't know if I can really do this. But what we're doing is we're getting in our own way. We're blocking ourselves from actually taking at least a closer look, to take an inspired look, and to see if whether or not something is actually for our greater good. That's why when I have something going on in my life that I am interested in, something gets presented to me, whether it's a challenge, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a webinar, whether it's a program, whether it's to work with somebody, it's really about asking three questions, which is, what do I need? Because I want to know what I need in the moment. Is this going to support that? How do I feel? Because maybe how I'm feeling is not really going to be supported by whatever is being presented to me. And that isn't going to serve my greater good. Again, coming back to what I need and how I feel, and will it serve my greater good if I say yes to it? But the caveat to that is waiting often will cost us more in the long run, right? So think about the time lost that you're staying stuck in the same patterns with the energy you expend worrying and the opportunities that can pass by because you hesitate, right? When you invest in yourself, and I want to really make this clear, it does cost time, energy, and oftentimes money. But that's okay because aside from what it costs, whether that's time that you have to expect to expend to do this, or energy you have to expend, or money that you have to pay to get whatever it is, this opportunity or something that's going to know pour into you overall and help with your emotional well-being, help with your overall well-being. Ultimately, the choice comes down to a choice that you make to prioritize what matters to you. But the potential return, well, it's things like feeling good about yourself, being aligned with your values, building a life that reflects the person you aspire to be. It's about shifting your perspective from viewing investment as a loss to seeing it as an opportunity, a chance to gain clarity, to gain confidence and resilience to navigate life's challenges with purpose and strength. The cost of not investing in yourself can be far greater because that could be you staying stuck, it could be you missing opportunities, it could be you losing time because you're staying stuck. And that's time you can't get because you're all over the place and not sure what to do, and you keep yourself stuck in limbo. It's about shifting your perspective from, again, focusing on what the investment is costing you now, especially if the hesitation is around money, to considering what it can ultimately cost you if you don't take action, staying stuck. Don't take action and you stay stuck. You miss opportunities and you continue to not feel good about yourself or your progress. And instead, like, the future cost could be that you're living in a life of alignment, that you are doing the things that you want to do, that you're really leaning into your purpose, and it makes sense, that you're aligned with your purpose, emotionally resilient, you're able to make decisions quickly without hesitation, because you already know what you want, you already know what you need, you already know how you feel, you know that what you're doing is serving your greater good, right? But the cost of an action, whether that's time lost, energy drained, or potential unfulfillment, is often far greater than the initial investment in your growth, whatever that looks like. So choosing into investing in yourself, again, whatever that looks like for you, is going to be a step towards you potentially reclaiming your time and energy and your joy for the long term. So now let's talk about the second objection I want to cover today. The second one is, I'll get to it as soon as I finish this one last thing. I've heard this before, or I'll start when I clear my plate. How many times have you said this to yourself, right? What has one last thing or clearing your plate turned into for you? Has that been a week? Has that been a month? Has that been a year? Has that been a decade? I mean, think about it. How often have you found yourself pushing your own needs or your dreams aside for what feels urgent in the moment, being distracted, maybe never even coming back to those things ever again, the things that you want for yourself? I've often found that the reason we do this is because of self doubt, whether that's the fear of not being good enough, which often happens. We get into our head. A lot of that can come to maybe not having clarity, or we're watching what other people are doing and we're comparing ourselves to them, or the fear of not being capable enough, like thinking, oh, well, I'm not qualified to do this, or the fear that you won't do it right. I've heard this quite often this year from people that I've spoken to, that I'm not going to do it right. They're afraid they won't do it right. And there is no wrong or right way. It's your journey, right? And it's learning from the mistakes and the triumphs and taking those lessons and helping those to fuel you for growth. Or maybe it's the fear that maybe you're not ready. But the truth is this: there will never be a perfect time. You can ask, I'm going to give you this analogy because I think this is going to be something that we can all relate to. You can ask someone you know who has children, as an example, was there a strategy or perfect timing for them when they started to have kids? And most likely the answer they're going to give you is no, because there's really no strategy or a perfect timing for starting a family. Like, maybe you think there's a perfect timing and you try to plan it all out, but is there really perfect timing? Because life doesn't work that way. It doesn't look like, oh, you've got all your ducks in a row, now it's time to have a child, and then nothing else happens. We know that life can all of a sudden turn upside down when we least expect it. So there's really no perfect strategy or perfect timing when it comes to having children, or to actually even making a decision for yourself, unless you have gone through that process. You have a process in place to help you to have that decision process where, like I said, mine is, what do I need, how do I feel, and will this serve my greater good? Having a process like that helps you to then at least have more clarity around what it is that you are looking at, thinking to do, and then being able to say yes or no. But being able to say yes or no with complete confidence that you're making the right decision for you. Breaking free from this cycle is about learning to trust yourself. As simple as that. And it's on you to learn to trust that the steps you take now are building blocks for the future that you want, even if it's imperfect action, even if things don't always go the way that you want them to, which we know that there's no such thing as perfect timing. And we know there's no such thing as everything going exactly to plan, right? Let me share a story with you. I want to share a story with you about a client of mine who, she owns a really amazing, thriving cake business. And when we first started working together, when I first started looking into what she was doing, we got to this part of the process we were working together, everything seemed really perfect. Like she had a steady flow of customers, she had repeat orders, and she has a reputation for incredible work. In fact, she sent me pictures, and I told her if I lived closer to her, I would definitely be a customer. But behind the scenes, she was overwhelmed. She was scrambling to keep up with last minute orders and staying up into the early hours of the next morning just to deliver on time. And this was playing havoc on her health because most days she was exhausted. She told me she felt stuck. She believed she didn't have time to get organized, and she kept saying yes to last minute requests because she thought it was the only way to keep her business afloat. But here's what I realized as we talked more and more about it and we started diving deeper. She was actually sitting on untapped potential, money, time, and energy because she didn't have a system in place to manage her business effectively. Now, I am not a business coach. What I talked to her about was really more about time and energy management and how using your calendar as your friend rather than your foe so that you were and putting systems in place around her business that is going to support her so she has a life outside of working Monday through Sunday and instead has time for herself, right? So together we worked on creating a client tracking system, a simple spreadsheet where she organized her customer base. She could identify repeat clients and she could also anticipate future orders as well, potentially driving those future orders because she could be proactive and do the first reach out. She learned to set boundaries not only around her time and her energy, but she also established order deadlines, right? She didn't have an actual process in place, but she did this so that she could avoid those last minute orders and that last minute chaos. And you know what happened? Not only did her stress levels drop, but her business became more manageable and she finally had time to rest and focus on growth instead of just surviving day to day. She's a wife, she's a mom of two young boys, and by her taking intentional steps and really taking control of that part of her business, it allowed her to then have that time and energy to really focus on and spend quality time with her family. So my question to you is this, before we move on. What's keeping you stuck right now? Are you holding on to beliefs that I'll do it later or I'm not ready yet? I want you to imagine what would happen if you actually just chose action instead of hesitation. If you started small, but you started, at least you started, what opportunities would open up for you? Which brings me to reflecting and the power of how reflecting on our past has the potential to open up our future in ways we never imagined. Now, it's not just about looking back, it's actually about using what you learned to move forward with clarity, purpose, focus, and intention. Now, reflection is a powerful tool, but its true magic is revealed when it's paired with intentional action. And I'm sure you can agree with that, right? Because when you actually reflect on something and you say, yes, this worked, I want to do this again, or you find a way to take action so that it moves you further, there's magic in that. Without action, though, reflection just becomes a missed opportunity to realign with what matters most and create the life you desire, right? It's a missed opportunity. So here's the key why I believe reflection gives us clarity. Because it helps us to see what matters, while the intentional action piece ensures that we're moving in alignment with the priorities that we have, and together they form that foundation for meaningful growth and fulfillment. So to help you begin this process, I want to encourage you to reflect on a few key questions. What lessons from 2024 can you carry forward? So think about moments where you grew, even if they were born from challenges, right? Okay, I always feel that you can find the gratitude even in the darkest of times, even in the most challenging of times. Sometimes we think we want something so badly and we didn't get it, and then a week later, a day later, maybe even a month later, or a few weeks later, we are relieved that we didn't get that thing that we wanted so badly because that would never have allowed us to be open to and receive something better that came along not too long afterwards. But of course, hindsight is 2020, right? But it's when we can actually look at our lives and say, okay, what did I learn from this challenge, this setback? What did I learn from the things that I accomplished? bringing that into, your reflection process. What insights did those moments bring? How can they guide your decisions moving forward, especially as you're now getting ready to go through a brand new year with your business, with your personal life? Maybe it's like, what are the relationships in your life that you have that are draining or maybe empowering? Like looking at that, what are the habits that you have that are maybe draining you or keeping you stuck or keeping you from actually, progressing or being successful? What are some of the habits that you would like to embody and how can you step into that? Like these are things that you should be asking yourself as you reflect back on your year. Next is, where in your life are you ready to invest time, energy, or resources? Look for areas that feel misaligned or that could benefit from renewed focus. Again, your relationships, your health, your professional goals. Being intentional around that. See where there's where things are working, and but also looking at like where there's gaps and where there's room for improvement. And then what's one small action that you can take to create alignment and momentum? Even the smallest step, right? Like, because that has the power to actually set change in motion. And when you're making a decision to invest your time, your energy, or your money into yourself, it's natural to think about upfront costs, right? And I know that's where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck on the immediate now cost instead of looking at the future cost, or the future outcome, positive outcome. And here's a powerful perspective shift that you could actually take. You could ask yourself, what is it costing me to stay stuck, right? Because that's where you're going to find the gold. Because if it's staying in a cycle of exhaustion, that could potentially cost you your well-being, right? Or if it's delaying taking action, that could potentially have you missing opportunities to grow, to thrive, or even feel fulfilled in the life that you're living. If it's avoiding making a decision, and that could be keeping you in a place of frustration, misalignment, even burnout, which, by the way, most people don't even have burnout on their radar until they're in it. And once you're in it, it's really hard to move through it and move out of it. It takes time. It's not just like a turnaround 24 hours. So what clarity could come from moving forward with your goals that you have, like your ideas, the things that you want for your life? And will doing what you do build your confidence? Will it help you knowing that you're taking steps aligned with your values? How about your energy and your momentum that fuel your personal and professional growth? How would they be affected? Like, how would your energy be affected? How would that affect your momentum? When you shift your focus from what you're spending now to what it could cost you in the long run to stay where you are, you start to see self-alignment not as a burden, but actually a gift to yourself and to your future. From my reflections in 2024, there were three lessons that stood out for me, and they shaped not only my year, but also how I work with other people. So the first one is alignment as your compass. Talked about it, as I said earlier, self-alignment is like your internal GPS, helping you navigate decisions that honor your values and your purpose. That's not about having it all figured out, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I have a plan, it's all figured out. That's not how life works. Yes, having a plan is important. Knowing what you want to do is important, but being open to and receptive to what else could be possible is also important as well. More consistent, more being self-aligned is really more about consistently recalibrating yourselves, your goal, your journey, reflecting back and making sure that your choices reflect who you are and what matters most to you. So when you're considering something, you might ask yourself this: am I saying yes to things that align with my core values? If it doesn't, what small shift can you make today to change that? Because I truly believe that our core values are powerful tools that we can use to help us make decisions in life, to how we show up on social media, to how we show up in social situations, to how we speak to others, to how we treat ourselves, how we treat the world around us. I feel that our core values are so powerful, and we can use them as a fuel for how we show up in the world every day. Now, number two is resilience, right? I said emotional resilience has the map. Alignment provides the direction, right? Emotional resilience gives you the emotional strength, or resilience gives you the emotional strength to adapt to life's unexpected challenges. It's not about suppressing the feelings. I want to get that across here because I think a lot of people think that, oh, I have to suppress how I feel. No, it's not like that at all. Instead, it's really about you acknowledging them, how you're feeling, and really choosing to keep moving forward, even in uncertainty. Allowing yourself to go through the emotions, figure them out, and try to understand what it is you're feeling and why, what's going on around you. Having that ability to be able to work through it so that you're not just shoving it under your rug and all of a sudden you find that your rug is this high with all of these issues that you swept under the carpet. And now you have to go back and deal with them because they're now showing up in unexpected ways and keeping you stuck from doing anything at all. So consider this. How can you honor your emotions while still taking intentional steps towards your goals? It really might mean that you're shifting boundaries around, setting boundaries, I should say, around your time and energy. Who you are spending time with, what you're spending and focusing on your time on, right? You want to be really clear about that. And that comes down to, as again, I said, using your calendar as a friend, not your foe, not saying yes to all these things that become busy work that overwhelm your day and not having any time there for you. It also might be you asking for help. I think that asking for help is a major self-care tool because it opens you up to ideas that others could share with you that you might not be thinking for yourself because you're in the midst of it. Someone with a fresh perspective can come in and help you. And also frees up your time. Or simply just giving yourself time to rest, like giving yourself permission to take some time to rest. Rest is important, especially when it comes to your sleep, making sure that you get a good night's rest. That's for another video, and I've talked about that multiple times in other videos, but it's really important that you take care of you. Number three is the power of harmony. What I believe, the power of harmony of alignment and resilience, because when they work together, they create harmony, a balance, if you will, that empowers you to thrive, not just survive. It's about you designing a life where your actions are meaningful and aligned with your values. So that's why I say that reflection is only half the equation, because action is where change begins. So here's a few steps you can take to not only reflect, but to move from reflection to intentional inspired action. So number one, start a journaling practice. I know, you're saying, I'm not big on writing. But, I think this is so important that you dedicate time every week to reflect on where you're at and where you want to go, because it helps you to see what's happening in real time. When you focus on alignment and resilience by writing about moments, especially when you're looking back and reflecting every year when you do this, and even I would say do this quarterly to see how you're progressing. But when you're focusing and you're writing about moments from the past year of 2024, when you felt most true in tune with yourself and when you overcame challenges, that's going to be really helpful, right? And go deep and really think about it. Yes, I believe journaling is a way to do this because it gets out of your head onto paper everything, and I mean everything that's swirling around up here, right? So that you know what you're working with. And again, if writing isn't your jam, then type it up into an app or a Word doc, and whatever works for you, just get it out of your head so you can see what it is that you're working with. Now, number two is take one intentional action daily. Even if it's only one, like I said, starting small. Maybe it's setting a boundary around your time and your energy. Maybe it's you have someone in your life that calls you like clockwork every day and is always talking about the same problem every day. And you get sucked into a 30-minute, hour-long conversation about the same thing. And there doesn't seem to be any movement in the direction of resolving it, right? So you set a boundary around that time and the energy you can expend to it, and giving them and just being open and honest and saying, hey, I really want to be here to support you, but we have been going around in circles on the same topic. And I don't know if you realize this, but we've been doing this for months now. And I really would love to be able to help you move forward with this. But if I just don't know if you're ready. And if you're not ready to move on, hey, there's no judgment here. But let's just kind of move on to something else right now. And then when you're ready, let's work on this together. That way, you're still showing them that you're supporting them, but you're also protecting your time and your energy and not being drained by the same story over and over again. Maybe it's reaching out for support. Remember, I said asking for help, maybe from your community or someone in your trusted circle. I think community is so important. I feel that it's another amazing self care tool because it allows you to be a part of a group of people who understand, at least have some form of understanding of what you're going through because they're going through life's challenges and they're supporting each other. And so you can be a part of that supportive circle of people that you can support each other. Or maybe you have somebody in your trusted circle that you know you can go to with anything. They have your back, no judgment, and you do the same for them. Having people in your life to support you so that you don't feel like you're on an island all alone is so important so that you don't stay stuck in overwhelm. So you don't stay stuck in those limiting beliefs of believing that you're not ready, you can't do this, you're not capable, you're not going to do it right. All of those types of things, when you are able to bring those things to your friends, to the people that care about you, who know you, they can remind you, hey, I don't believe that's true because remember when? That's what happened to me often. I've done that where I've said something and they'll say, hey, don't you remember? You did this. That was so admirable and I actually admire you for that, right? So being able to have that circle is so important. So asking for help is really critical. Or maybe it's you just making time for a passion project that you've been putting off. Something that you love to do just simply for the fun of it, just for the simple joy of it. But you've been putting it off because, well, you feel like you just don't have time, right? That again comes down to what are you putting on your calendar? Again, are you using your calendar as your friend or your foe? Because either way, your calendar is at use. Is it supporting you or is it not? Wherever you start small. Let's start somewhere, okay? Number 3, have regular self check-ins. I think this is really important for you to pause regularly and ask yourself questions like, am I living in alignment with my values? Is this decision taking me closer to the life I want to create? Because these things are going to help you. Again, as I said, living in alignment with your values is very, very important because what I've found is that, again, our values help us to make decisions, help us to how we show up in the world. And again, these self check-ins help keep you grounded in your priorities and help guide your decisions with more clarity and purpose. Now, number 4, this is important as well. Reframe challenges as opportunities. Remember, I said finding the good or finding the gratitude even in the darkest of times or in the most challenging of times. So instead of viewing setbacks as failures, like you didn't accomplish something or something didn't go quite as well as you wanted it to, or something failed, you think you failed miserably, it's instead shifting your perspective to see those as opportunities for growth, right? Looking at those setbacks as opportunities for growth and asking yourself questions like, what lesson can I take from this? There's always going to be a lesson. And then use the lessons that you've written down, like write them out. Again, having that journaling practice is so important as you're going through and reflecting back on 2024. Really, it's going to help you build that resilience and adapt to life's twists and turns more easily because you're allowing yourself to really get to know who you are. So, and remember, like every challenge carries that hidden and potential opportunity to grow stronger, more resourceful, and even more aligned. And finally, number 5, prioritize joy and self-care. I really feel that it's so important that you prioritize not only joy, but self-care. It should go on your calendar first. I believe it should go on your calendar first because then you're actually intentionally saying, I matter, I am a VIP in my world, and I'm going to take care of me. So make an intentional space for the things that light you up and recharge your energy. Whether that's having your daily walk, right? Putting that on your calendar. Every day at 7 a.m. I'm going for a walk. Well, that's what I do. Every day at 7 a.m. I go for a walk. Or maybe you have a moment of gratitude. Maybe at the end of the day, you have a gratitude practice. At the end of every day, I also have a gratitude practice where I'm actually thankful and going through the things that I'm grateful for that happened in the interactions with people, the things that I did, the people I've met, interacted with, all of that. Or even the time you spend with your family and friends, being able to like really take accounting of that and finding joy in these things, like making that intentional space for your joy, right? Joy isn't a luxury. I believe it's fuel that can sustain our journey through life. And when you prioritize self care, you show up for yourself and others with greater clarity and purpose because you are showing you're showing up as a better version of yourself, right? So now, if you're ready to take the first step towards clarity, we can work together to explore where you're in your journey. And all you have to do is send me a message, and I will send you a link to book your complimentary wellness strategy session with me. These sessions are designed to help identify your strengths, to uncover hidden gaps, and understand what may be holding you back. This would be an opportunity for you to gain valuable insights about how you are managing your time, how you're managing your energy, and how you're taking care of your overall well-being. So that you can actually begin making empowered choices that support the life you want to create. And if we feel, when I say it is a partnership, if you feel it's the right fit, we can also discuss whether being part of my Whole Soul Blueprint program aligns with what you're hoping to accomplish. So send me a message with your complimentary call, and I'll send you the link right away. Now, when you're aligned with your values and you build up your emotional resilience, you're unstoppable. Because together, these two pillars provide both direction and strength to navigate life's challenges. So imagine this time next year, when you're looking back over 2025, picture what your life could look like if you had said yes to yourself when you were faced with opportunities that have the potential to change your life in profound ways. What would it feel like to wake up each morning knowing that your time, your energy, and your well being are aligned with the life that you truly want to create and that you're living intentionally? This vision becomes possible when you invest in you and you commit to actions that reflect your deepest values. I believe that self investment is the best gift one can give to themselves. When we can say yes to ourselves, it's our way of laying the foundation for thriving, not just surviving in 2025 and beyond, but for going forward every day. By choosing to prioritize your well-being, you're not only supporting you, but you have the potential to create a ripple effect that touches every part of your life, including those around you, including the things that you do. Remember, reflection and intentional action are gifts that you can give yourself every single day. They remind us of what we're capable of creating, which is a life that aligns with our values and fills us with purpose. But it starts with you and a choice. The choice to invest in you, to take inspired action, and to honor the life you want to create. So again, to remind you, if you are ready to take the first step, send me a message to schedule your wellness strategy session with me. I'll send you the link to book it right away. Here's to making 2025 the year where you not only reflect on and learn from all that you have done and accomplished, but also where you take bold action and step into a future filled with alignment, resilience, and joy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.